I never believed in monsters until I saw one with my own eyes. It was a night I will never forget, a night that changed my life forever. I was one of the knights sent by the king to investigate the mysterious attacks that had been plaguing a small village near the border. For months, the villagers had been living in fear of a savage beast that stalked the countryside at night, leaving behind mutilated corpses and blood-stained trails. Some said it was a wolf, others said it was a demon. No one knew for sure, but everyone agreed that it had to be stopped. We arrived at the village just before sunset and were greeted by the terrified locals. They told us that the beast only came out when it was dark, and that it always avoided the main road and the torches. They also warned us about a nearby castle where they believed the beast had its lair. They said it was an old and abandoned fortress, once owned by a noble family that had fallen into disgrace and ruin. They said it was haunted by a malevolent sorcerer who had sold his soul to the devil and used dark magic to control the beast. We decided to split up into two groups. One would stay in the village and guard the people, while the other would go to the castle and confront the sorcerer and the beast. I was part of the latter group, along with 4 other brave knights. We armed ourselves with swords, shields, crossbows, and holy relics, and set off towards the castle as soon as it was dark. The castle was not far from the village, but it took us longer than expected to reach it. The road was rough and winding, and we had to be careful not to alert the beast or any other dangers that might lurk in the shadows. We also had to avoid getting lost in the dense forest that surrounded the castle, which seemed to have a life of its own. The trees whispered and groaned, as if they were trying to warn us or scare us away. We finally arrived at the castle gate, which was rusty and broken. We pushed it open with some effort and entered the courtyard. The castle looked even more ominous than we had imagined. It was a huge and imposing structure, made of dark stone and covered with ivy and moss. It had tall towers and spires, narrow windows and arches and gargoyles and statues that seemed to stare at us with malice. It was silent and still, but we could feel a sinister presence lurking within. We proceeded with caution, searching for any signs of life or movement. We found none. The castle seemed to be deserted, except for rats and spiders. We explored the ground floor first, finding nothing but empty rooms and dusty halls. We then moved to the upper floors, hoping to find the sorcerer's quarters or his laboratory. We also kept an eye out for any secret passages or hidden doors that might lead us to his lair. We were on the 3rd floor when we heard a loud roar from outside. It sounded like a mix of a wolf's howl and a man's scream, and it echoed through the castle walls. We knew it was the beast, and we knew it was the beast, and we knew it had found us. We rushed to the nearest window and saw a horrifying sight. The beast was standing on the courtyard, illuminated by the moonlight. It was unlike anything we had ever seen before. It was huge and muscular, with black fur and red eyes. It had a wolf's head and claws, but a man's body and limbs. It wore torn clothes and a chain around its neck, which connected to a metal collar. It looked at us with rage and hunger and let out another roar. We realized then that we had been tricked. The sorcerer had lured us into his trap, using his magic to make us think that the castle was empty. He had probably been watching us from somewhere, waiting for the right moment to unleash his beast upon us. We had no time to waste. We grabbed our weapons and ran towards the stairs, hoping to find a way out of the castle before it was too late. But as we reached the landing, we saw another horror waiting for us. It was the sorcerer himself. He was standing at the top of the stairs, blocking our way. He wore a black cloak and hood that hid his face, but we could see his eyes glowing with evil power. He held a staff in his hand, topped with a skull that seemed to grin at us. He laughed, a cold and cruel sound that sent shivers down our spines. "You foolish knights," he sneered. "You thought you could defeat me and my beast. You are nothing but insects waiting to be crushed." We knew we had to act quickly. We charged at the sorcerer, our weapons raised and our hearts pounding. He raised his staff, and a wave of dark energy surged towards us. We dodged and deflected the attack, but it was clear that we were outmatched. The sorcerer was powerful, and his magic was unlike anything we had ever faced before. As we fought, we could hear the beast approaching, its heavy footsteps shaking the castle floor. We knew we had to find a way to defeat both the sorcerer and the beast, or we would never leave the castle alive. In the heat of the battle, I remembered the holy relics we had brought with us. I reached into my pouch and pulled out a small silver cross. I held it up, praying for divine intervention. To my surprise, the cross began to glow with a bright white light. The sorcerer recoiled, shielding his eyes from the light. "Impossible," he hissed. "You cannot defeat me with your pathetic trinkets." But the light from the cross seemed to weaken him, and we seized the opportunity. We attacked with renewed vigor, our weapons finding their mark. The sorcerer stumbled, his dark magic faltering. At that moment, the beast burst into the room, snarling and snapping its jaws. It lunged at us, but we were ready. We fought back, our swords and crossbows aimed at its heart. The beast was strong, but it was no match for our determination and courage. As the sorcerer lay dying, he cursed us with his final breath. "You may have defeated me, but you will never escape this castle," he warned. "It will be your tomb, just as it was mine." But we refused to let his words deter us. We searched the castle, eventually finding a hidden passage that led us back to the village. The villagers rejoiced at our victory, and the king rewarded us for our bravery. The castle was sealed, its dark secrets locked away forever. But the memory of that night and the beast that haunted it would stay with me for the rest of my days. I had faced true evil, and I had survived, but I knew that there were other monsters out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for their chance to strike. And I vowed to be ready for them, no matter what form they took or what horrors they brought. For I was no longer just a knight. I was a monster hunter, and my quest had only just begun. For just $3 a month, you can have your name featured in my YouTube videos and descriptions. Not only will you be supporting my channel, but you'll also be immortalized in the credits of my content. If you're looking for something a bit more personalized, consider becoming a $25 a month patron. I'll voice your stories and bring them to life on my channel. Create a special drawing just for you, or even write a unique story tailored to your interests. So don't hesitate. Join my patron community today and help me keep the spooky stories coming. And remember, together we can save each other from the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for your support.